The morning fog hung thick over Nantucket Harbor as Maya Sullivan pulled in the last lobster trap of the day. At 20, her weathered hands told the story of countless hours helping her adoptive father, Captain Joe Sullivan, work their family fishing boat, the Promise. She'd grown up knowing she was different, the dark-haired girl found floating in the Atlantic, rescued by Joe and his late wife Sarah when she was just months old. "Maya, come quick!" Old Walter Cronin called from the dock, clutching something against his chest. Walter had been fishing these waters for 50 years, and Maya had never seen him look so shaken. "What's wrong, Walt?" Joe asked, tying off the boat. Walter's hands trembled as he pulled out a waterlogged leather diary. "Found this in my nets today. Been underwater for God knows how long, but look at this." He opened to a page protected by plastic, revealing elegant handwriting and a photograph of a magnificent white yacht. Maya's heart stopped when she saw the date, July 18th, 2004, just days before she was found. "Read it," Walter whispered. Maya took the diary with shaking hands. "I cannot stay silent any longer. What I witnessed aboard the Serendipity 3 nights ago haunts me. A young woman, barely more than a girl herself, stood at the stern, holding an infant. She was crying, but her voice was steady as she spoke to the baby. "Forgive me, my precious one. This is the only way to save you." The woman, beautiful with dark hair like the child, carefully placed the baby in a small life raft with supplies and blankets. But before she released it into the waves, she tucked something inside: papers, what looked like a letter, and a small jewelry box. "Your father would destroy you as he destroyed me," she whispered to the sleeping infant. "But this way, you'll have a chance at love, at a real family." Then she did something that will haunt me forever. She kissed the baby's forehead and said, "I love you, Isabella Marie. Remember that your mama loved you enough to let you go." Maya's legs gave out. Joe caught her as the diary fell to the dock. "Isabella Marie," she whispered. "That was my name." Walter nodded grimly. "There's more. The woman, your mother, she didn't abandon you out of cruelty, child. She was saving you." Maya picked up the diary again, reading through tears. "I saw him then. The man who must be the father. Tall, well-dressed, furious. He was shouting at her about family reputation and cleaning up this mess. And when he realized what she'd done, he struck her. But she just smiled through her tears and said, 'She's free now. You can't hurt her anymore.' I wanted to intervene, but I was just crew. By morning, the woman was gone. They said she fell overboard during the night. An accident. But I know what I saw. That woman didn't fall. She was pushed." Joe's face had gone pale. "Who was she, Walt? Who was this woman?" Walter flipped to the back of the diary where a business card was taped to the cover. "Victoria Ashworth, Private Investigator, Boston." Beneath it, someone had written in the same elegant handwriting, "If anything happens to me, give this to my daughter when she's old enough to understand. Tell her Elena Catherine Ashworth loved her more than life itself." "Elena," Maya breathed. "My mother's name was Elena." Walter pulled out a small, tarnished jewelry box that had been wrapped in plastic. This was tucked inside the diary. Maya opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was a delicate gold locket and a folded piece of paper. The locket contained a tiny photograph of a young woman holding a baby, her mother holding her. The paper was a letter. "My dearest Isabella, if you're reading this, then my plan worked, and you survived. You were found by good people who will love you as I cannot. Your father is a dangerous man. He comes from wealth and power that corrupts everything it touches. When he learned I was carrying his child, he wanted you to disappear. He would rather kill us both than have his reputation damaged by scandal. I am not abandoning you, my precious girl. I am freeing you. Somewhere out there is a family who will give you the love and safety I cannot provide. In this locket is my contact information and proof of who you are. When you are old enough, when you are strong enough, find Detective Robert Chen in Boston. He was investigating your father's activities. He will help you understand the truth. Live, my darling. Be happy, and know that every day of your life, your mother loved you enough to sacrifice everything for your freedom. Forever yours, Elena Catherine Ashworth. Maya looked up at Joe through tears. She didn't abandon me. She saved me. Joe wrapped his daughter in his arms. She gave you to us because she knew we'd love you, and we have, haven't we? Papa, I need to find Detective Chen. I need to know what happened to my mother. Joe nodded, understanding in his eyes. Then we go to Boston, together. 2 days later, Maya and Joe sat in Detective Robert Chen's cramped office in Boston's District 2 station. Chen was older now, gray-haired and tired, but his eyes sharpened when Maya showed him the locket. "Elena Ashworth," he said quietly. "I wondered if this day would ever come. You knew my mother." Chen pulled out a thick file from his desk drawer. "Your mother hired me 21 years ago. She was being stalked by a man named Marcus Blackwood, heir to the Blackwood shipping fortune, rich, powerful, and completely obsessed with her." He spread out photographs and documents. Eleanor was a private investigator herself, one of the best. She'd been building a case against Marcus for years, stalking, assault, intimidation. But every time we got close to arresting him, his family's lawyers would make evidence disappear. Maya studied a photograph of a handsome but cold-eyed man in an expensive suit. "This is my father." Marcus became fixated on Elena after she investigated his family's business for insurance fraud. When she rejected his advances, he began following her, threatening her clients, making her life hell. Then she discovered she was pregnant. Chen's expression darkened. Elena knew Marcus would never let her or the baby live in peace. He'd already made threats about handling the problem. So she came to me with a desperate plan. "The yacht," Maya said. "Elena had been gathering evidence against Marcus for months. She finally had enough to put him away, but she needed to get close to him one more time to obtain the final piece, a recorded confession. She agreed to meet him on his yacht, wearing a wire." Chen pulled out an audio transcript. "We got the confession. Marcus admitted to the stalking, the threats, even to arranging accidents for other women who'd crossed him. But Elena knew that even with the recording, his family would find a way to protect him. So she made sure I would be safe first," Maya said. "She'd already arranged for you to be placed in that life raft with a distress beacon. She knew the patrol routes, knew you'd be found quickly by fishermen. She sacrificed herself to save you and to make sure Marcus was finally caught." Joe leaned forward. "What happened to him? To Marcus?" Chen's smile was grim. "Elena's recording was enough to convict him of multiple felonies. Marcus Blackwood has been in federal prison for 20 years. But Maya," he hesitated, "there's something else you need to know." Chen pulled out a more recent file. "Marcus is being released next month. Good behavior, family connections, expensive lawyers. And the first thing he's going to do is look for you." Maya felt ice in her veins. "He knows I'm alive? He's suspected for years. The Blackwood family has been quietly investigating your disappearance. They know Elena had a daughter, and they know that daughter would be about 20 years old now. Why would he look for me?" Chen's expression was grave. "Because you're Elena's daughter. Because you represent everything he couldn't control about her. And because," he pulled out a legal document, "because Elena left you everything in her will. Her private investigation business, her evidence files, and a trust fund worth $3 million. Maya stared at the inheritance papers. "I don't want his money. It's not his money, it's your mother's. She earned every penny of it through her own work. And Maya, there's more. Elena didn't just save you that night, she saved someone else too." Chen opened another file. Marcus had another obsession before your mother, a young woman named Sophie Martinez. Sophie disappeared 3 years before Elena died. Her body was never found, but Elena believed Marcus killed her. He showed Maya a photograph of a beautiful young woman with kind eyes. Elena's final case was proving Marcus murdered Sophie. She gathered evidence, found witnesses, built an airtight case. All of it is in her files, files that legally belong to you now. Maya looked at Joe, then back at Chen. You're saying I can finish what my mother started? I can make sure Sophie Martinez gets justice? With your mother's evidence and your legal right to her files, yes. But Maya, it's dangerous. Marcus is getting out of prison, and he's going to be looking for revenge. Joe placed a protective hand on Maya's shoulder. She doesn't have to do this alone. Maya thought of her mother, sacrificing everything to save her daughter and seek justice for another victim. She thought of Sophie Martinez, whose family had spent 20 years wondering what happened to their daughter. What do I need to do? Maya asked. Chen smiled for the first time since they'd arrived. First, we contact the FBI. Elena's evidence files contain enough to reopen Sophie's case as a federal murder investigation. Second, we make sure you're protected when Marcus gets out of prison. And third, we finish what your mother started. We make sure Marcus Blackwood pays for all of his crimes, past and present. Maya picked up her mother's locket, feeling its weight. Elena had died to give her daughter a chance at justice, at truth, at a life free from fear. When do we start? Maya asked. 1 week later, Maya stood in a federal building in Boston, surrounded by FBI agents and Elena's carefully preserved investigation files. Agent Sarah Martinez, Sophie's younger sister, who had joined the FBI specifically to find her sister's killer, spread out 20 years of meticulous detective work. Your mother was brilliant, Agent Martinez said, her voice thick with emotion. She documented everything Marcus Blackwood did, every threat he made, every woman he targeted. The files painted a picture of a methodical predator who used his family's wealth and influence to escape consequences. Elena had identified at least 6 women Marcus had stalked, threatened, or assaulted over a 15-year period. Sophie was just the first one who disappeared, Agent Martinez continued. Your mother believed Marcus was escalating, becoming more dangerous. Maya studied photographs and documents, seeing her mother's handwriting in the margins, careful notes, observations, connections between cases. She was building a pattern. Exactly. And this, Agent Martinez held up a small recording device. This was found in your mother's effects. It contains Marcus's confession to Sophie's murder. Maya's hands shook as they played the recording. Marcus's voice was cold, casual as he described killing Sophie and disposing of her body. But it was his final words that made Maya's blood run cold. Elena thinks she's so clever, gathering evidence against me, but she doesn't understand. I own this city. I own the police, the judges, the lawyers. When I'm done with her, she'll disappear just like Sophie. And if she had a brat, it'll disappear too. Agent Martinez paused the recording. This was made 3 days before your mother died. She knew Marcus was planning to kill her, but she stayed to finish gathering evidence. Joe, who had been silent throughout the briefing, spoke up. She could have run, could have taken Maya and disappeared. But then Marcus would never have been caught, Maya said quietly, and Sophie's family would never have known the truth. Agent Martinez nodded. Your mother chose justice over safety, for Sophie, for you, for all the women Marcus might hurt in the future. The door opened, and FBI Director James Walsh entered with several agents. Ms. Sullivan, I've been briefed on your mother's investigation. This is one of the most comprehensive cases I've ever seen. He sat down across from Maya. Marcus Blackwood is being released from federal prison in 3 days. We have enough evidence to arrest him immediately for Sophie Martinez's murder, but we need to be strategic about this." "What do you mean?" "Marcus doesn't know we have your mother's evidence. He thinks Elena's investigation died with her. We want to keep it that way until we can arrest him for Sophie's murder and reopen investigations into the other missing women." Agent Martinez leaned forward. "Maya, we need your help. Marcus is going to come looking for you, for Elena's daughter. When he does, we want to be ready." "You want me to be bait," Maya said. "We want you to be protected while we gather final evidence to put Marcus away forever. With your mother's files and your testimony, we can ensure he never hurts another woman." Maya thought of the photograph of Sophie Martinez, young, smiling, unaware that her life would be cut short by a monster. She thought of her mother alone on that yacht, making the ultimate sacrifice to save her daughter and seek justice. "What do you need me to do?" Director Walsh smiled grimly. "Help us finish what Elena Ashworth started. Help us make sure Marcus Blackwood pays for 20 years of murder and terror." Maya picked up her mother's locket, feeling the weight of Elena's love and sacrifice. "When do we begin?" Marcus Blackwood walked out of federal prison on a grey Tuesday morning, his expensive suit tailored to perfection despite 20 years behind bars. His cold eyes scanned the parking lot until they found what he was looking for, a black sedan with tinted windows. 3 blocks away, Maya sat in an FBI surveillance van, watching Marcus on multiple screens. He looked older, but no less dangerous, his movements predatory as he climbed into the sedan. "Target is mobile." Agent Martinez's voice crackled through the radio. "All units, maintain distance." For 3 days, they tracked Marcus as he reconnected with his criminal network, collected money from hidden accounts, and began asking questions about Elena Ashworth's daughter. The FBI had leaked carefully crafted information. Maya was living in Boston, working as a private investigator like her mother, completely unaware of her true parentage. "He's taking the bait," Director Walsh observed, as Marcus' car headed toward the address they'd provided, a downtown office building where Maya was supposedly working. Maya adjusted the wire taped to her chest. "Remember, we need him to confess on tape. Get him talking about Sophie, about my mother, about his plans for me. You don't have to do this," Joe said from beside her. He'd insisted on being part of the operation, despite FBI objections. "Yes, I do. For Mom, for Sophie, for all the women he hurt." Maya entered the office building through the back entrance, while FBI agents positioned themselves throughout the building. She waited in a small conference room, her mother's locket visible around her neck, Elena's investigation files spread across the table. At exactly 3 p.m., Marcus Blackwood walked into the room. He was tall, handsome in a cold way, but his eyes held the same predatory gleam Maya had seen in 20-year-old photographs. When he saw her, he smiled, an expression that sent chills down her spine. "Isabella," he said using her birth name, "you look just like your mother." "My name is Maya Sullivan," she replied steadily, "and my mother was Eleanor Ashworth." Marcus laughed, circling the table like a shark. "Eleanor, beautiful, brilliant Elena. She thought she was so clever, gathering evidence against me, but in the end, she learned the same lesson all women learn. I always win." "You killed her." "I freed myself from her obsession," Marcus corrected, "just like I freed myself from Sophie Martinez's pathetic attempts to destroy me." Maya's heart raced, but she kept her voice calm. "Tell me about Sophie." Marcus's eyes lit up with sadistic pleasure. Sweet Sophie. She was so naive, thinking she could threaten me with exposure, as if anyone would believe her word against mine. He leaned closer. "Do you know how easy it is to make someone disappear when you have enough money? How did you kill her? Does it matter? The important thing is that she learned her place, just like your mother learned hers. just like you're about to learn yours." Marcus pulled out a gun, his mask of civility finally dropping. "You see, Isabella, you represent unfinished business. Elena's final insult to my family name. But that ends today." The conference room door burst open as FBI agents flooded in, weapons drawn. "Drop your weapon, FBI!" Marcus's face twisted with rage as he realized he'd been trapped. "You think this matters? My family owns judges, senators, entire police departments. I'll be out in a year." Agent Martinez stepped forward, handcuffing Marcus as she read him his rights. "Actually, Mr. Blackwood, you just confessed to first-degree murder on federal wiretaps. You're never getting out again." As Marcus was led away in handcuffs, he turned back to Maya with pure hatred in his eyes. "This isn't over, little girl. The Blackwood family doesn't forget." "Neither do the Ashworths," Maya replied quietly. Chapter 5. Elena's Legacy. 6 months later, Maya stood in the cemetery overlooking Nantucket Harbor, placing fresh flowers on a newly installed headstone. Eleanor Catherine Ashworth, loving mother, dedicated investigator, hero. The trial had been swift and decisive. Marcus Blackwood was convicted of first-degree murder for Sophie Martinez's death and conspiracy charges related to Elena's murder. He was sentenced to life without parole, and several members of the Blackwood family faced corruption charges. Agent Martinez, Sophie's sister, joined Maya at the grave. "The families of Marcus's other victims wanted me to thank you. Because of your mother's evidence, we've been able to provide closure for 5 families who lost daughters to that monster." Maya touched her mother's locket. "She saved so many people. She saved you most of all." Joe approached from the parking lot, carrying legal documents. "The paperwork is finalized. The Elena Ashworth Foundation for Missing Women is officially established." Maya had used her inheritance to create a foundation that would continue her mother's work, helping families of missing women, training investigators, and providing resources for victims of stalking and domestic violence. "There's something else," Joe added with a smile. "Boston University accepted your application. You can start the criminal justice program in the fall." Maya looked out over the harbor where she'd been found 20 years ago, then back at her mother's grave. Elena had sacrificed everything to save her daughter and ensure justice for other victims. Now Maya would carry on that legacy. "I'm going to be a detective," Maya said quietly. "Like Mom." Agent Martinez smiled. "Elena would be proud. You have her courage, her dedication to justice, and her stubborn refusal to give up," Joe added with paternal pride. As they walked back toward town, Maya felt her mother's presence in the ocean breeze, in the strength she'd inherited, in the love that had saved her life. Elena Ashworth had been forced to let her daughter go, but her love had never left Maya's side. The little girl, who'd been found floating in Nantucket Harbor, had grown into a woman determined to protect others as her mother had protected her. Elena's sacrifice had not been in vain. It had created a legacy of love, justice, and hope that would continue for generations. Maya looked up at the lighthouse beam cutting through the evening sky and whispered, "Thank you, Mom. I won't let you down." Behind her, Joe smiled and called out, "Come on home, Maya. Dinner's waiting." Home, family, love, justice. Eleanor Ashworth had given her daughter all of these things through her ultimate sacrifice, and now Maya would spend her life ensuring other mothers and daughters received the same gifts. The girl from the sea had found her purpose. The end.